You can't imagine how much I've suffered. You've suffered? But now, the perfect opportunity has presented itself. At last, I shall have my revenge. What? Merry Christmas. Okay, we learn a few truths about what just happened in this scene later on. I'm betting Edgeworth was ultra confused by what just took place right on that boat. He must have had so many questions on his mind, such as, why did the lawyer that defended my father's murderer pull out a gun and waste 2 bullets in the lake? Why did he leap off the boat after taking those 2 shots? How was he the one that was suffering? What did he mean by revenge if he got the verdict he wanted? Also, this incident took place after midnight on Christmas Day. Does that mean we can think of Turnabout Goodbyes as the diehard of Ace Attorney?
Next in the news, a large unidentified animal was sighted at Gourd Lake. The town is buzzing with excitement. Locals are calling it Gordy in a tip of the hat to Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. Though its namesake Nessie proved to be a hoax, locals are confident their Gordy is the real deal.
Proved to be a hoax? Look, I don't believe the Loch Ness Monster exists, but there have been many reported sightings, most of which are totally false even after the first game came out. There's still people to this day, at least 1,000, that believe Nessie exists. In fact, the latest reported sighting, as of the time I'm recording this, was on April 4, 2024. It seems like to this day the debates are still on, but I'm definitely not a believer. The water pressure's kind of low in that shower. You want more pressure, huh? Why don't you go down to the fire department and have them spray you with the hose? Good idea, Nick. Apparently, Faye Blood is no aid in detecting sarcasm. Apparently not. You'd think if she could read your mind, she'd know if you were being sarcastic. So, you've come to laugh at the fallen attorney? Then laugh! Laugh! Hey, that sounds like something April May said 3 months ago. You're a novice. You've only been in 3 trials. Technically 4, since with the Mia Fey case, Maya was the first suspect, and then Phoenix had to represent himself. Also, only those cases? It's been 2 months since the last case. How are the bills for the law firm being paid? Is one of them just working some extra job for pay and we don't know about it? The lake is a long way away from your offices and the courthouse. Why were you down there? I see no need to tell you. Mr. Edgeworth, you didn't really... Gordy. Huh? I went to see Gordy. I think Edgeworth could come up with better lies than this. If Phoenix knows his childhood friend, that was very easy to see through. This is one of the very few instances in the Ace Attorney series where you are required to present your attorney's badge in order to advance. Most of the time, however, it's just taking up space in the court record if anything else. Ah! Eek! Hey, you're that hairy guy! Hairy Butts! Wright! Phoenix Wright! Will he ever learn my name? As a matter of fact, yes he will, because this is the last time this stupid joke is ever done. Oh, it's Christmas today. I'd forgotten. What are you getting me for Christmas, Nick? Nothing, since to my knowledge, you two haven't been working for 2 whole months. You should have heard him talking about you after that trial. He kept saying right over and over. Man, they're really encouraging the right worship, aren't they? I think there's something to be said for talking to people when they're busy. Yeah, they don't have time to think about not giving you information. Such information includes, get the heck out of my face, I'm busy. Wowzers, this is Gourd Lake? Yup, I'm not sure it warrants a wowzers though. Way to kill the mood by being one of those you've seen one lake, you've seen them all type of people, Phoenix. Someone left some poppers here. You know, you pull the string, and it goes pop. Yeah, I know the ones. You see them a lot around New Year's. Hey Nick, they might be a clue. Maybe if you want to suggest the gunshot the witness heard was really the sound of a party popper in a murder trial where someone was killed by gunshot. Except, oh wait, they haven't been used. Poppers. Okay, so you're given the option to either take the poppers or not. I feel like Maya would have just taken the poppers without the need for Phoenix's approval, but you have to say yes in order to progress the story. Look, someone's camping. They've got guts camping at the scene of a murder. I think they had guts anyway because of the no camping sign. Wow, cool. Let's try it out. Hi, I'm Nick. Maybe I'm not saying it loud enough. Hey, I'm Nick! Huh. Nick! But seriously, why is that your test? To mock Phoenix? And why hasn't Phoenix been objecting to this? Maybe it isn't set to respond to voices. Well, what then? These things? The party poppers? I don't think that's how noise-activated cameras work. It was just a single sound from a party popper. Yeah! Hey, you! Get your hands off of that! You mean to tell me Lotta only came out after hearing the camera going off, not while Maya was screaming at it? In fact, why did the game even require us to pick up the party poppers anyway? Wouldn't it be more convenient if all that happened was Maya was screaming at the camera like she did here, and Lotta came out worried that she'd waste all the film? Yeah, I know how y'all Yanks think. I say, those southern folks talk with that exaggerated drawl. Why, they must be dumb. Well, let me tell you, just because I might be dumb don't mean we all are. So, are you admitting to being dumb, or are you just saying not all southerners are dumb without anything extra? Oh boy, I guess we should pay her for the film. Watch it! Watch what? What were you even responding to? Why didn't y'all say that in the first place? Go ahead, ask me anything you like. Finally, some cooperation. You two, y'all can come out ahead now. I won't bite. Hard. Come to think of it, where did Maya get to? That's a legit question. Where exactly was Maya hiding? The game doesn't even have the courtesy to answer that. That's quite a camera you have there. Y'all better know it. It's German made. A genuine Solingen. Isn't that where they make knives? Oh please, as if that's the only place. I'll go check that film. Y'all come back now, you hear? She went inside her SUV. I guess we should come back later. I can't imagine it taking that long to get a photo like what we were talking about. Sounds pretty easy. It was taken late in the night, 2 men were in a boat, and a gunshot triggered the mic attached to the camera. I don't see why they couldn't have just waited for Lotta right at the campsite. See, Mr. Edgeworth always gets his defendants declared guilty every time. Yeah, his methods might be a little extreme at times, but there's a reason. He trusts our investigation, see? He trusts us to get the right man. But that reason is kind of bosh if we're to believe that statement Edgeworth made in Turnabout Sisters about how he'd do anything for a guilty verdict. That face. Someone you know? I don't know. I just have this feeling that I met him somewhere a long time ago. Wait, the dialogue for the autopsy report talk option just ends right there? And I have to go back to the office so that Maya can remember in order to open up a new location? What's up with that? But then I tried going to Grossberg's office to learn more about this murder victim, but he's not here. Why even open up a new navigation option if I can't go there to advance the story yet? Instead, I gotta go all the way back to the campsite just to get the photos from Lotta. Hi, y'all. Wait, we just came back to see the photos Lotta took with the automatic camera. She's not going to ask us where we've been or what took us so long to come back, assuming she found the photos she was looking for quick, or did it really take that long to find the photos? Hey, so I'm off to talk to the cops. Y'all can have this photo. Later. Whoa, wait, Lotta! Why, can't you see I'm busy? Tell us what you saw too, please? Nice try, honey, but I wasn't born yesterday. I'm a witness, and that means I'm on the side of justice, and that means the cops. Except you gave us one of the photos your camera took that night. Why even do that? Okay, the navigation in this case is pretty stupid. At the beginning, you go to the detention center to talk to Edgeworth, then the Gourd Lake entrance to talk to Gumshoe, then the public beach for the party poppers, then the campsite to set off the party poppers and talk to Lotta, then the criminal affairs to retrieve the autopsy report, then go back to the office so Maya can remember the details about the victim. And you think to go to Grossberg's to learn more, but nope, you can't do that yet. You gotta go back to the campsite to get the photo from Lotta, then to the public beach to talk to Larry, and only after that you get to visit Grossberg. This isn't the worst case of constant backtracking in the Ace Attorney series, considering I just got done with Turnabout Samurai. Even then, there's worse backtracking later in the series, but this seems like a bit much. Just talk to Edgeworth at detention, then Gumshoe at the entrance, and Lotta at the campsite, Larry at the public beach, then back to the campsite to get the photo from Lotta, then criminal affairs for the autopsy report, then Grossberg's office. It's not rocket science or anything. Oh, Beyonce's a fine, fine woman, Nick. It was her idea that I wear this costume. She was all, you go, girlfriend, you know? You go, girlfriend? Larry, are you sure she's not? Whoa, cute. Nick, who's she? She's not sure. I know that Larry becomes an illustrator in the future. Don't you freaking dare draw fan art of Phoenix and Maya like those weirdos on the internet. But Mr. Edgeworth is a prosecuting attorney. What? Edgy's got a proboscis on his knee? Stupid joke aside, there's no way someone like Larry should know the word proboscis. In fact, even if he did, I'm not sure it means what he thinks it means. But why are they samurai dogs? I mean, they kind of look gourd-shaped. Oh, well, originally they were gourd dogs. You know, like guard dogs. Ouch. The samurai thing was Kianse's idea. Oh, she's my woman, you know. Ouch is right, actually. Honestly, Kianse, meddling much? Man, the kids can't get enough of those samurai dogs. Something about that just seems wrong. How? I set the camera to automatic, and when we got into the frame, I heard a loud bang, like an explosion, followed by the sound of something slipping into the water. And the automatic camera just happened to snap before either of you turned around to see what the noise was? Her little sister, yes. You've grown. You come to look a lot like your sister, you know. Every once in a while, quite literally. That's Hammond. Robert Hammond. Mr. Hammond? And you say this is the man Miles Edgeworth shot? No. I didn't say anything of the sort. Apparently going straight to present the autopsy report to Grossberg without talking to him first is the only thing that makes Grossberg's line not make sense. He was a defense attorney in that case. That case? Yes, the DL6 incident. DL6? Why does that sound so familiar? Perhaps you remember? I'm sure someone mentioned it during the trial for Mia's murder. No, it was never brought up during the trial. Grossberg told you about it before your trial, and now you're gonna hear more. Show him this. I'm sure he'll talk to you. Wait, this is a photograph of my mother. Wow, Grossberg, kind of a jerk move on your part, all just to convince Edward to take my case. Well, thanks, I guess? I thought that terrible incident was about to end. Now, this. About to end? The DL6 incident happened 15 years ago. 15 years ago, on December 28th. December 28th? The statute of limitations on the case runs out in 3 days. No? If we're going by the American localization, there's no statute of limitations on a murder case. Who would have thought there'd be a photo? Edgeworth, did you shoot him? What do you think, Wright? I don't think you're the kind to point a gun at anyone, no. So you didn't shoot him? No, I didn't. It wasn't me. I'm sure it would have saved Phoenix a bit of hassle for Edgeworth to just say that he didn't bring a gun with him when he went to Gourd Lake. I know it was a confusing time for Edgeworth, but surely nothing should have prevented him from saying the other guy in the boat was the one who pulled out the gun. Sure, it would have been confusing, but at least he'd be a bit closer to the truth. In fact, isn't that what Ace Attorney is about? Discovering the truth? This is my chance to finally pay you back. Pay him back? Pay me back? For what? I don't remember ever doing anything for you. What about the Steel Samurai trial? That's one thing. I mean, he'll really do anything. Manfred von Karma is a man to be feared. That's quite a claim coming from someone who forges evidence. What does that even mean? Sure, the updated autopsy report was pretty underhanded, but both cases where Phoenix faced off with Edgeworth, there wasn't a single piece of forged evidence that's been presented. Yes, there's also the rumors about Edgeworth, but is Phoenix really gonna assume those are all true? Just picture a prosecutor as vicious as me, multiplied by a factor of 10. So was he your teacher then, Mr. Edgeworth? Something like that. And now he's trying to get you found guilty? What a creep. Oh wait, maybe he's planning on losing on purpose to help you out. Not a chance. He hasn't lost in 40 years. 40 years! He's as ruthless as me times 20. Didn't you previously say he was 10 times as vicious as you? Now the number just went up? Actually, 20 times as ruthless makes more sense. Mr. Von Karma, is the prosecution ready? Fool. You seriously think that I would stand here were I not completely prepared? Right, my apologies. He's even got the judge scared. The prosecutor's putting intimidation on the judge. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Please take a look at this map. Now that I'm looking at this guide map, I realize that the navigation of the investigation portion actually makes even less sense than I thought. For the most part, it's fine. You go from the entrance to the public beach, and from there you either go to the boat rental shop or the campsite. But for some reason, if you're at the campsite, you can't go to the boat rental shop, and if you're at the boat rental shop, you can't go to the campsite. It looks like there's a connecting path between the boat rental shop and the campsite. It really shouldn't be an issue. Actually, I'm the one that's supposed to be handling these proceedings. Wrong. There is only one thing you need to do here. You will slam down your gavel and say the word guilty. That is your role. Yes, of course, you're quite right. No, he's not! And I think the judge knows that Von Karma isn't right also. Otherwise, the judge would have ended the trial just as Von Karma said. Fired 3 times? I know what this means, but at this point in the game, nobody did. Didn't Gumshoe say 2 gunshots were heard by the woman at the campsite? Hey Nick, what does he mean ballistic markings? Shocking. to imagine someone here does not know something as basic as ballistic markings. Hey, she's a spirit medium. Give her a break. It's not like an attorney asked this question. I'd say it's almost decisive, yes. Honestly, I could declare a verdict at this point. However, you wish to hear the witness speak, no doubt. With how ruthless Von Karma is, I'm surprised he wasn't like, yeah, just get this trial done and over with. I am somewhat fatigued, so I will take a brief break. Somewhat fatigued? How? We haven't been in the courtroom that long. What do we even need the recess for? We've been in there for 69 minutes. Nah, that's ridiculous. But you must believe me, I didn't shoot him. Then who did? I don't know. You don't know? Weren't you right there? I heard a gunshot from very close by. Actually 2 gunshots very close by. I can't say why, but I thought at the time that he had shot himself. You were right in front of him when the gunshots went off. There's no reason for you to have thought it was a suicide if he was standing right in front of you holding the gun pointed at the lake. I know it was dark and foggy that night, but still. If I can't call my sister, I might as well not be here, right? Seriously? I have the option to make Phoenix be a jerk to Maya about it? Man, this game. I heard this bang come up from the lake. When I looked out the window, I saw 2 gents in a boat. Then there was another bang. Only 2 gunshots were recorded in the testimony, yet during the cross-examination, the game doesn't allow me to present the pistol so I can bring up the point that the weapon was fired 3 times. It's like the game has a very specific story structure that it wants me to follow in the right order, without any branching paths, even being inconvenient about certain logical flaws that I'm not allowed to point out. This photo is worth 1,000 words, and they all read guilty. You lose. Or do you claim to have found a contradiction in her testimony? Other than the one I already talked about that the game wouldn't accept without giving me a penalty? Unfortunately, I can only find it by pressing all the witnesses' statements and listen to you patronize me 6, I counted, 6 times! What does the witness's motive in camping by the lake have to do with this case? The answer is nothing. I object to this line of questioning. Objection sustained. Wait now, I'm the one who says that. Well then say it already! Objection sustained. Thanks for nothing, Your Honor. Thanks for nothing indeed. All the narcissistic piece of crap did was sustain his own objection, then shout for the judge to agree with him. This judge is a doormat. Could you clearly see the 2 men? Just look at the picture. Clear enough for you? No! That's not a question you should have had to ask. All we see are silhouettes. Contradictions, Mr. Wright. Not meaningless babble. Von Karma, I think I hate you. You and me both, bro. I'm sorry, but you were warned. Guard, escort Mr. Wright out of the courtroom. He is in contempt of court and must leave. I know you said any further outbursts will put me in contempt, but no matter what Von Karma said, that should mean escorting Phoenix out of the courtroom. After all, as Maya would clarify, she was the one responsible for the outbursts. Getting her out should be your action. Don't punish me for something I clearly didn't do, you moron! I'm sorry, it just feels so personal for me to see the player character about to be punished for something he didn't do, despite there being clear and obvious evidence he didn't do it. I was the one who made the outburst, Your Honor. Nick is innocent. Ha, what's the difference? Don't play dumb, Von Karma. You know darn well what the difference is. It wasn't a masculine voice you heard, it was a feminine one. You're in contempt of court. It's too late for wild claims. Judge, sustain my objection. I'm sorry, Mr. Von Karma, but I cannot. Oh, look who finally has some nerve! Look at this photograph! Oh gosh, is that a Nickelback reference? The camera was set up to take pictures of a meteor shower. It's only now as I'm presenting the evidence that I realize why was this lie so hard to see through when Phoenix first met Lotta. As Phoenix actually points out when presenting the camera to this statement, the camera is pointed straight at the lake, not up at the sky. We saw the camera the day before the trial. You seem sure of yourself. You must have something in mind. That would be a first. No, it wouldn't. So sorry, y'all. I wasn't fibbing, really. I thought, I could be a witness to a murder and all. So? That doesn't mean you weren't fibbing earlier. First you said you clearly saw Edward's face, then you said you were camping by the lake to photograph shooting stars, and then you said you were watching the boat the whole time after hearing the gunshots, despite us having just revealed that you were looking for Gordy. None of those things turned out to be true. The witness will show the enlargement to the court. Here it is. Hold up, I can understand the human figures not being made clear in the first image, but what about the flash that's lighting up the barrel of the gun? Why couldn't that be seen? We now know that it was not Mr. Edgeworth who fired the pistol that night. And we would have continued to think it was if Von Karma got his way and we didn't see the enlargement. I wonder if Von Karma ever got penalized for deliberately concealing evidence like this. Oh wait. Who but the defendant could have shot the victim? The only possible option here would of course be the victim himself, since Larry was nowhere near the lake when it happened and Lotta was out camping, but even the suicide option is strange. The photograph we see has the shooter firing in the direction of the other man. If the death was a suicide, shouldn't the second photo the camera took that night have been of the shooter pointing the gun at his own temple, unless Von Karma was concealing that photo too? An examination of the victim's wound reveals the distance at which he was shot. Distance? The victim was clearly shot from further than a meter away. How does he know this? You want to know how you can tell? Finish this game first, then move on to Justice for All. So we were in there for 1 hour 56 minutes, eh? Sure felt like an eternity talking about Gordy and all. I requisitioned a transcript of Lotta's entire testimony. I thought it might give me some ammunition for the trial tomorrow. Of course, she didn't see the shooter, so the only part of her testimony that stood was the bang she heard. 2 gunshots just after midnight on Christmas Day. Yes, that's sure to be useful, especially when another witness also testifies to having heard 2 gunshots after midnight, but my idiot friend says he only heard 1 gunshot before midnight, which he would actually be right about. So I start the next chapter of the episode at the detention center where Maya is being held for contempt of court. I talk to her, and here's a bit more of this backtracking BS that the game throws at me. In order for her to be able to get out, I'd have to first go to the campsite to talk to Gumshoe, who says that Edgeworth is paying the bail for Maya, and then back to the detention center so that Maya can be by my side again. Why not just have it so the bail is immediately paid by Edgeworth after I'm done with the talk options for Maya? Wouldn't that be more convenient? What's the point of forcing me to go to a whole different location just to have the story advance? Any idea what strategy Von Karma is planning for tomorrow?
It sounds like he's bringing in another witness.
Another witness? Oh, right, he said something about that in the trial today.
There were 2 witnesses.
First off, Von Karma only says this if you press the first statement of Gumshoe's testimony during the trial, which you don't have to do. Second, why flashback to the trial? You already knew there was a separate witness from Lotta. You heard about him when you first stopped by the entrance to Gourd Lake before you even met Lotta. Sure, you weren't really told any details, but you still knew about a witness before you met Lotta. Those interrogators were really mean. They were like, okay, what did you do this time? Like I was some kind of criminal. Can you believe it? Considering you were once accused of murder, it doesn't sound that unbelievable. Also, America. What about Gordy? Right. Well, the way I figure, the trial's only stoking the flames of Gordy fever. I'll get my exclusive photos and rocket to stardom. Yeah, assuming no one steals your scoop first. See, I reckon we might be able to do ourselves a little exchange. Exchange? I thought this was to make it up to us. Right. I propose a little exchange to make it up to you. Lotta's definitely playing up the Southerners being dumb stereotype here. You made the mess and are trying to make it up to us. We shouldn't have to owe you anything.
Okay, and how exactly do we search for a make-believe monster? Maybe we could find a monster myth specialist.
And for whatever reason, Gumshoe is the first thing that comes to mind.
See, Mr. Edgeworth's father died in the DL6 incident, and the guy who got the lone suspect declared innocent was the victim in this case, Robert Hammond. They're saying that's why Edgeworth shot him.
Okay, but the DL6 incident was 15 years ago. If Edgeworth really wanted revenge on Hammond for helping the supposed killer go free, he wouldn't have waited this long, at least until he was old enough to handle a gun properly. Or heck, it didn't exactly have to be that long either. There's more ways to kill someone than just with a gunshot. Also, bringing back the fact that DL6 was 15 years ago, Edgeworth shouldn't have had that much pent-up emotion about the selfish defense starting at such a young age. Remember, Edgeworth was 9 at the time, and right now he's 24. I don't think 15 years would have been early enough for the motive to make sense.
You got time to go wild monster hunting? How about doing a little questing for me, then?
Oh, Detective Gumshoe is scaring me, Nick. I told Detective Gumshoe about the deal with Lotta. Nick, try telling him sooner next time! You're the one that brought up Gordy to him. Why should I be responsible?
Introducing secret weapon number 1, Missile.
Missile?
He's a canine police dog, still in training. Missile! Missile! Here, boy! Here he is.
Hey, he's cute. Look, Nick, cute dog.
A cute dog. And this will help us... How?
Missile is probably the least useful of the secret weapons Gumshoe introduces for finding Gordy. Yet out of all secret weapons, why is the dog the only thing Phoenix doesn't question in terms of usefulness out loud?
Oh well, I suppose it can't hurt to borrow one of them.
Missile and fishing pole only lead to filler, so let's just get this over with and borrow the metal detector.
Whatever it is, it must be in those bushes.
Go check it out, Maya. Why do I have to check it out? Just one look at Phoenix's suit and Maya shouldn't have to ask. I thought it was Gordy. Maya, first of all, why would Gordy be in the bushes? And second of all, why would a metal detector react to a sea monster? As much as I love Maya and her perkiness, even I must admit there's moments like this where she comes off more lightheaded than anything else. Larry, I wanted to ask you about this tank. Have you seen this before? Huh? Me? No, never. Who the heck would go diving in the middle of the winter?
There's something about the way his eye twitched when I showed him the tank. I think I'd better pursue this line of questioning a little further.
Except you don't. No extra talk option or anything. I just simply chose to ask if he's seen it before as opposed to if it belongs to him. But he basically gives the same answer either way, so why would I not pursue the line of questioning any further regardless of which question I asked? Instead, I have to specifically ask, is it yours? Just because he talked about diving when I asked if he's seen it before, that's no excuse to not bring up the flags on the tank. Well, all that happened on the 20th or so.
The 20th? A week ago?
No, today is the 26th. That would make it 6 days ago. I think I have to sneeze. Whoa, no you don't. No sneezing. Achoo! It's only now that I see the camera go off a second time I realize why is it that the camera goes through the entire roll of film from the party popper and from Maya's sneeze, but when the gunshots were heard out in the leg, it was only one photo for each discharge. I told y'all no sneezing! See, I set the camera to respond to things a little softer than a bang. Why would you do that? This is your fault! Of course I have proof. No fair, Nick. It was when I went to the bathroom, wasn't it? That's when you made contact with Gordy? Between Lotta striking the deal and right now, when and where would Maya have gone to the bathroom? There's a stand near here. A hot dog stand. There's a giant inflatable samurai doll there. About a week ago, an idiot who happens to be a friend of mine tried to fill it. I just love how nonchalant Phoenix is about calling his old friend an idiot. Hold on. Something else? Yeah, not the murder. My camera clicked twice, you know. Of course it did! It was in response to the 2 gunshots you heard after midnight. Oh wait, you're talking about a different photo taken way earlier? Yeah, but there's nothing in it at all. Just the lake. I figured it wouldn't be much use as evidence, so I kept it to myself. Well, it might not be helpful at all, but... Here, take it. Totally won't be helpful when some idiot who happens to be my friend says he heard a gunshot before midnight. Hey Nick, this is the boat shop that Lotta was talking about. No crap, Maya. We've passed by this shop so many times. It's the only one near Gourd Lake. Meg! Yes? Finally made up your mind, have you? My mind? You'll run the pasta shop when I'm gone? Yeah, I understand that the caretaker's only pretending to have brain damage so he wouldn't be identified, but pretending to think the boat rental shop is also a pasta shop just seems like it's pushing it to me. Keith! Yes? I leave the wet noodle in your capable hands, Sonny. Ew! I don't want anyone's wet noodle in my hands. I get it. Huh? Yup, I got you figured out now. You're not Keith! Man with amnesia figures out what a 2-year-old should have no problem guessing, then proceeds to forget it all over again. Alright, I'll help. But on one condition. What's that? When this case is over and done, you'll run the wet noodle. See what I mean? Oh wait, I had one more question. Huh? Polly, have we forgotten something? What? Don't forget DL6! Squawk! Out of all possible questions to ask Polly, why does Maya think to ask if we forgot anything? I mean, it gave us some useful info, but for that to be the leading question is just crazy. Hey, Belle, long time no see. It's only been like an hour, dude. If you could convince me somehow that the DL6 incident is related to this case, well, I guess I'd consider opening the file up. The victim is the defense attorney in DL6 where the defendant's father was killed. I'm pretty sure that's strongly related. Also, didn't you tell us last time we were here that the police were linking a motive for this current case based on those facts? Wow, it's amazingly dusty. 10 years of files and 10 years of dust, I guess. Is this records room seriously not visited often? Something about that just doesn't sound right.
15 years ago, both me and Edgeworth were 9 years old. We were almost through with 4th grade when he suddenly transferred.
Almost through with 4th grade? The incident took place in December. I take that to mean halfway through 4th grade. Summary. Found it! Here you go. December 28th, 2001. 2001? That was the year the original game was released in Japan. To the exact date, it was October 12th, 2001. Since the statute of limitations on DL6 is set to expire only 2 days from this point, that would mean that the first game takes place in 2016. Ace Attorney takes place in the future! Also, wait, 2016 and people are still using flip phones? What's next? Are they still using VHS tapes? The murder weapon, a pistol, was found in the elevator. The pistol had been fired 2 times.
Where have I heard that before? Ah, it sounds just like this current case. What's going on here?
Just like in the current case, the sense that one bullet has been unaccounted for? Sure. The suspect, Mr. Yogi, was oxygen deprived, so much so that he had brain damage. He lost all memory of being in the elevator. After he was declared innocent, he disappeared. Where could Yogi have gone to, I wonder?
He may be closer than we think.
Yeah, perhaps on hiatus from renting boats near Gourd Lake?
I guess I know generally what happened in DL6 now. I still don't know what sort of impact the whole thing had on Edgeworth.
What do you mean you don't know what sort of impact it had? Edgeworth's father was shot right in front of him.
Mr. Von Karma, your opening statement. Very well. No opening statements. Not so fast, Judge. I was taking a meaningful pause before speaking.
Everyone for the dramatic, are we, Von Karma?
Today's trial will end 3 minutes from now. Order! Order! Mr. Von Karma, what is the meaning of your statement just now? Bah, must you question everything? It will be over in 3 minutes. We have no time to waste.
Dude, what's the hurry? Do you have, like, a previous engagement?
I am the proprietor of the restaurant, the Wet Noodle at Gourd Lake.
I guess even Von Karma doesn't approve of the whole pasta shop thing either.
Wait a minute! The witness hasn't stated his name yet! Because I did not ask him, Mr. Wright. Bah, I've predicted this trial will end in 3 minutes. Stop asking trivial questions and cooperate!
Give me a reason to cooperate, you smirky butthole! Also, why so specific? 3 minutes? How impatient do you have to be just to get this trial out of the way so fast?
Very well, I'd like to begin the cross-examination. There is nothing to question in my witness's testimony. Ergo, no need for cross-examination. Besides, there are only 10 seconds left before our 3 minutes are up. Judge, your verdict, now!
I promise this is the last time I ask. Is there any special reason you're so desperate for the trial to be done in exactly 3 minutes?
What are you saying? Of course I'll cross-examine the witness. Very well, you may begin.
Ah! Happy New Year! Also, that must have taken some serious planning on the writer's end to plot out the punchline working so well. Von Karma said it'll take 3 minutes, and by the time we get to this point, approximately 3 minutes really have passed in real life. The only way this joke wouldn't land as good is if the game was being played by a speedrunner, or if the player is just really slow progressing through the dialogue.
Witness, are you sure that the person you saw was Miles Edgeworth?
It was him that Edgeworth boy!
Are you referring to the fingerprints from Edgeworth's right hand found on the gun, and the photograph showing a man firing with his left hand?
Exactly.
That is easily explainable. He could have wiped his prints after he fired.
Wiped off his left-hand fingerprints, then put right-hand fingerprints on there afterward? Why would he do that? Wouldn't it make more sense to throw the gun in the lake after killing the victim? Also, if it was that easy to counter, why didn't you say this in the last trial? By that logic, there shouldn't even be a second trial day.
3 minutes was perhaps too high an expectation. However, 15 minutes isn't bad. This must be a new record.
It has not been 15 minutes since the proceedings began.
This court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth.
Oh no, I lost. Wait, this isn't a joke, is it?
Order! Order! Well, this is the first time something has happened like this in my court.
What, someone interrupting the verdict to give brand new testimony?
Allow me to speak my opinion. In all court proceedings, it is our duty to prevent an inaccurate verdict. In other words, you're finally figuring out just now that you need to stand up to Von Karma and actually overrule his objections every now and then. Okay, so let me get this straight. The guilty verdict was called 15 minutes into the trial, then Larry interrupted, the verdict was withdrawn, and it was 13 minutes after the initial ruling that a recess has started. Are you being serious? When he fell into the lake, I went into a daze. I couldn't understand what had happened. I couldn't think straight. You know, maybe I've been too harsh. After all, it's not like he fired shots into the lake right for you to see, then jumped into the lake on his own accord. That's not an everyday occurrence, dude. Von Karma has only ever run perfect trials. Perfect trials? Perfectly prepared witnesses? Perfectly complete evidence? Then 15 years ago, he got called out on it, and he just kept going with it ever since because he is that evil. The recess was supposed to go for 5 minutes, but it actually went for 7. That's cheating. You only heard one bang? Are you sure? That's what I said! But Ms. Lotta Hart testified yesterday that she heard 2 bangs, and the old man just now said the same thing. They both heard 2 gunshots that night. Huh? Were you even listening? Yes, he was. In fact, the reason he even came to the stand in the first place, in his own words, is because the caretaker said something different from what Larry remembers. And come to think of it, why did this surprise Larry? This was the contradiction he heard to his own testimony, is it not? The witness said he remembers exactly what the DJ said when he heard the gunshot. And if we want to hear about what it was the DJ was saying, we're going to have to press that statement during the cross-examination. What did she say? How do you even know the gender? Larry never specified that. There was a loud noise in the lake at 11:50 p.m. That is why this photograph was taken. In other words, when Larry heard that gunshot, it was most definitely still Christmas Eve. But if that's the case, why didn't Lotta hear it too? She was the one that set up the camera. There is no proof that the loud noise at 11:50 was a gunshot. Why, the witness could have sneezed, triggering the camera. That is, assuming he was even near the campsite when he sneezed. Also, this statement itself has already been proven wrong. Lotta only said to respond to a sneeze after the first day of the proceedings. Something about this pistol was bothering me, Your Honor. Both of the witnesses who testified yesterday heard 2 gunshots. I'm sure he was referring to Gumshoe and Lotta, but Gumshoe never heard the gunshots. Wouldn't it be more accurate to drop the word yesterday from the line? Remember the case of the Steel Samurai? Huh? Yeah, of course I remember. The murderer in this case had the same idea as the murderer in that case. The crime of the Steel Samurai case was not murder, it was justified self-defense. Of course, it was the murderer who shot the pistol. He shot twice. Both missed Edgeworth, on purpose. I know that I talked about the murderer firing 2 rounds into the lake on purpose a few times already, but now that we got to this point in the game, now is as good a time as ever to say this. The photo of the boat that Lotta's camera took suggests that the man at the front of the boat fired the gun, and the opening cutscene depicts the man at the back falling in the lake. But that doesn't make sense if the murderer was the one that fell in the lake after that same person fired the gun. You might be thinking, oh, maybe the camera was at a different angle than the opening cutscene, but it couldn't have been because in both cases, the boat is pointed in the exact same direction. Tell us why the murderer had to fire twice. One of the options says because the first shot missed. In other words, we'd be contradicting ourselves because we already said that the shots missed on purpose. So after the recess, we were in there for 2 hours, 47 minutes. We were just cross-examining Larry until we got to the point where I had to explain the murder method, and then we hear about the boat shop caretaker having taken off. What was Mr. Edgeworth talking about? A memory of a crime that I committed. A memory of murder. He said a memory of a murder, actually. Hey, I'm just a guy sitting in the audience, you know. But from where I was sitting, Edgy seemed pretty edgy. Ha! Ha! I'm going to believe in you two until the end. Us two? Edgeworth and who else? You mean me, right? Nah, he means me, right, Nick? Yeah, you, Larry. Not me? Phoenix doesn't include his legal aid. This is how it always is. Everybody ganging up and picking on one person. Story of my middle school life. He's in pain, and no one's on his side. I'm the only one who knows the real Edgeworth. I'm the only one who can help him. I know there's still good in him, cliché. Hey, Belle. Long time no see. We only saw each other yesterday. Stop saying that. I got so worked up, I snapped my tie in half. Then what's that around your neck? Just a spare? Looks like the hot dog stand is closed too.
I guess Larry's too busy worrying about Mr. Edgeworth to show up for work. Last time we saw him, he was at our office, and it wasn't that long ago either, so why should it be any surprise he's not at the hot dog stand? What do you think Mr. Grossberg was doing here anyway? Who knows? That's actually a legitimate question. Grossberg has no reason to be out here. I can't believe he just run off and leave his poor parrot to fend for herself. Maybe he just didn't want to be cornered at the boat shop. Get your revenge on Miles Edgeworth. It also says, this is your last chance. Now is the time to get revenge on the 2 men who ruined your life. The rest of the letter goes on to describe the murder plot in detail. And we don't even get to open it up to actually read the whole thing. He never trusted his clients, that one. The only thing he trusted was his own ability. But he got his client found innocent, so why should it matter? Why should it matter? Were you not paying attention? Hammond always put not guilty verdicts over his clients. Do you have any idea who wrote this? I can't believe it's asking me this and giving me 2 stupid choices. Why would Edgeworth want revenge on himself? And besides, these are instructions that Yoki himself followed to kill Hammond. Don't give me this prompt, just say it's Von Karma and move on. Oh, wait, you're right, my boy. This is Von Karma's handwriting, I'm sure of it. How funny, because when I showed Edgeworth the letter, he didn't recognize the handwriting despite having practically lived with the man. I hate to say this, but even accidental murder is murder, you know. No, it's not! You're a lawyer! You should know the difference between murder and involuntary manslaughter! Murder is never accidental! Von Karma! You. How do you know my name? How would we not know your name? You're a feared prosecutor, not to mention the one presiding over the case we're representing Edgeworth in. We've been through this twice now. For the 3rd freaking time, why are we showing valuable evidence to the villain? How stupid does this game force you to be? Nick, run! Ah! Maya! Out of my way! Ah! So we're just going to completely ignore the fact that Von Karma zapped 2 individuals with a 600,000 volt stun gun in a police department records room. No security cameras, no one to lift a finger about what Von Karma just did. Okay. I'm no good as a lawyer or a medium. I can't even call my sister. Not even now when we need her the most. I wish I hadn't woken up at all. I'm sure that wasn't the designer's intention, but the way Maya closed her eyes here made it look like she just freaking died. I remember. Von Karma was holding this when Maya jumped him. What are the odds that she'd be able to snatch this specific piece of evidence from Von Karma before getting shocked? Not to mention Von Karma not grabbing the plastic bag? That has to be pretty low. Whoa! What are you doing? Sorry, I'm sorry. So is Edgeworth not going to question the electricity that Maya passed on to him? Or are we not going to question why he reacted like he got zapped with a bolt of lightning, even though a shock like that shouldn't be that strong? No? Okay. Witness, why did you run away yesterday? The witness was not running away, as he will now testify. That wasn't really something to raise an objection towards. Just let the witness answer on his own. He's capable of that. The witness has testified quite clearly that he has no memory of who he is. If you claim he's lying, then show the court proof. How am I supposed to prove what's going on in that old codger's head? It's impossible! Oh, woe is me! If only I didn't show Von Karma that letter from the caretaker's safe. Mr. Wright, please tell us this witness's name. Well, gee, who could it be? Certainly not the court bailiff I keep mentioning by name in my thought bubbles. Definitely either the current victim or the victim from 15 years ago. You see, before I worked as a caretaker, I worked at a chemical plant. I burned my fingers working with this stuff. Yep. Oh, what? Yogi, you sneak! You burned your fingerprints off to hide your past! I wouldn't put it past Yogi to do that, but it hasn't really been confirmed or denied either way. Well, if the witness has no fingerprints, I guess we will not be able to prove his identity. This is just a thought, but is it possible to run a blood test on the caretaker to see if he's Yogi, or did they just not collect Yogi's blood prior to DL6? Your Honor, the defense would like to take Mr. Von Karma up on his proposal. Take Mr. Von Karma up? On my proposal? Exactly, Your Honor. I would like to cross-examine the witness's pet parrot. Ladies and gentlemen, Phoenix Wright is making courtroom history. That's quite a bird. Please tell us your name. Name! The witness is ignoring me. What did you expect? You're talking to a bird. Polly, have we forgotten something? That's not what you're supposed to say. Forgot. Something we forgot. Uh-oh, it's not working, Nick. She won't say it.
This is ridiculous. Why won't she say it? Something the matter, Mr. Wright? Wait, don't tell me Von Karma expected this. He couldn't have retrained the parrot, could he? Did he train her not to respond when we asked if we'd forgotten anything?
I'm not saying it's not possible for Von Karma to train the parrot not to say don't forget DL6, but Yogi is the owner. He could just as easily, between the time he locked us out of the boat rental shop and the next day when he testified in court, retrain Polly to not say don't forget DL6, just in case an event like this rises. Except, why did he train Polly to say that anyway? Polly, what's your name?
Polly, what?
Mr. Wright, I think we've established that this parrot is named Polly.
Yeah, in fact, we shouldn't have had to ask the parrot her name. It'd be quicker just to present the evidence that connects the name Polly to DL6, but game has other plans, I guess.
The DL6 case file? That's quite a large file you have there. Which page is this proof on, then? Show us or stop wasting our time.
Why do you think I'm pulling the dang thing out? Have some patience, man.
He wanted to remember the name of his fiancée who had committed suicide. That's why he named his parrot after her. I see. I guess it is possible. Bah! A mere coincidence, that's all. My granddaughter has a dog she calls Phoenix. Well, Mr. Phoenix Wright, does this make you my granddaughter's fiancé? She's only 7 years old!
Okay, seriously, to answer Von Karma's question, no, because as you can see, I'm still very much alive, and I love myself.
The DL6 case file? What is this obsession you have with that case?
What do you think it is? I'm trying to prove that the boat shop caretaker is the suspect from that case, you idiot! How do you have a perfect record again?
He used the date of the DL6 incident as the number for his safe, Your Honor. That's how important that date was to him. I see. It certainly is an interesting coincidence. People often do set their secret numbers to dates. Bah! This is not tangible proof. I set my ATM card's number to 0001 because I'm number 1. This has nothing to do with a date. Nothing!
Bad example on Von Karma's end. 0001 doesn't entail any specific date.
This witness, he doesn't remember. No, it's okay. I've accomplished what I wanted to do. I'm done.
Most people would say Vasquez has the calmest breakdown in the series, but honestly, I think Yogi's is calmer.
Your Honor, I object to your judgment.
For that reason, I shall point towards the defense.
I am guilty for DL6, the statute of limitations of which ends today. The culprit is me.
And he points to the defense bench again, but for what reason? No, there's no way we were in there for 4 hours and 24 minutes. All that happened in that time was the boat shop caretaker was questioned, the parrot and her perch were brought to the witness stand, Yogi confessed to the current murder, and then Edgeworth confessed to DL6. There's no way it should have taken that long.
But it's the truth. I deserve to be punished. Murder is murder, no matter the circumstances.
But you didn't commit murder. According to your statements, you only committed involuntary manslaughter. It's still a punishable crime, but the consequences should be nowhere near as severe. The recess was meant to go for 5 minutes, yet we're back in the courtroom in 6 minutes. That's cheating.
Look at this file one more time. This plainly contradicts the witness's testimony. You do enjoy dragging out that file, don't you? I don't accept this evidence. Unless you can tell us what page it's on.
First of all, why wouldn't I pull out the DL6 file? We're listening to Edgeworth confessing to the accidental killing of his father, which, as you may recall, is filed under DL6. Second, of course I'm going to tell you what page the contradiction is on! Why do you think your page is not every time I pull this thing out?
Your Honor, I think I'll be able to show you proof. What? Impossible. Now, Mr. Von Karma, save your surprise for after you've seen the evidence.
Tell him that every time I pull out the DL6 file.
So, let me get this straight. This photo proves 2 shots were fired? Where?
Your Honor, please get a clue.
I know it's customary for attorneys to explain their reasoning, but if I may draw your attention to the hole in the glass door of the elevator, which should be clear as day, just use your eyes and you might be able to see it.
Look once more at the DL6 incident case file. Look closely. Try the case summary page.
The case summary? That's on page 1.
Look what is written there. Not a single clue was found on the scene.
Well, actually, in more accurate words, it says no clues found on the scene.
Rah!
It must exist. The second bullet.
What exactly is the reason for Mia's words? I'm sure it couldn't have just been Phoenix's memories of her wisdom. I think it had something to do with Maya being there, still trying to reach Mia.
Was there some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet?
This is a trick question, and what a stupid trick. Of course the murderer needed to get the bullet away from the crime scene, but this particular prompt does show Phoenix grasping at straws, which he is, but whatever option he picks, he's still grasping for straws and should be hearing Mia's words again to think outside the box. Unfortunately, that's not the case. If you say the murderer had to find it, you're only given 2 options for why, and neither of them are right. Thus, you're stuck getting a penalty. You have to say the murderer didn't need it in order to advance the story.
Well, you have indicated the possibility that the murderer came from outside. Can you give us the name of your suspect?
Uh-oh, should I come out and say it now?
Of course you should! Why is this even a question?
I would have needed surgery, no? Where did I go under the knife at, Mr. Wright? Bring the doctor that operated on me. Have him testify.
You know, with his long vacation, he could have had surgery performed to remove the bullet inside him in some faraway country. The DL6 incident was 15 years ago, after all. The evidence would prove to be useless by the time that bullet arrived in the US.
I know Von Karma, perhaps too well. He's perfect. He wouldn't leave clues. He probably didn't undergo surgery. That would leave a doctor as a witness.
I already gave a brief explanation. I'm not going to do it again.
Your Honor, the defense requests that we be allowed to use this metal detector. Judge, I call for a suspension of this trial. This is an invasion of privacy.
You already objected to it once. What makes you think a second objection would be any more effective, especially with a desperate counterattack like that?
Can you prove that the bullet in Von Karma's shoulder was from DL6? Of course he can't. You don't have any of the DL6 evidence.
If Von Karma was so perfect, why didn't he check the evidence he stole from the records room to see if everything's accounted for? Never thought you were missing a bullet, huh?
You may recall the term. It came up in the first trial 2 days ago. Ballistic markings are the fingerprints of a weapon. All bullets fired from a gun are marked with that weapon's unique pattern. By examining these markings, you can tell which weapon fired the bullet.
But those weren't the judge's exact words, though. These are the judge's exact words.
Ballistic markings are like the fingerprints of a gun. The barrel leaves distinctive marks on each bullet it fires. You can examine these ballistic fingerprints to see which gun fired the shot.
How did these flashbacks get so far off? They're in the same game.
I'll bury you! I'll bury you with my bare hands! Death! Death!
This breakdown is epic, but Von Karma should be getting a concussion from this. That was 3 hours and 8 minutes after the recess ended! Holy crap, these estimations!
Who, me? Oh, I went back to college. I'm trying to be an investigative photographer pretty quick.
But then you're right back to photographing for a scoop in the next game. It's Beyonce! She's going to live in Paris! Paris, Nick! She's leaving me behind! Jeez, does this ladies' man personality know no end? Unfortunately, it doesn't. Just wait.
Yo, Nick, that's the suit that questioned me. When he says treat, that's not police talk for prison food, right? Right?
America.
Wasn't that exactly the amount of lunch money that was stolen from Mr. Edgeworth in school? $38? No, Larry, it was you!
When was Larry gonna give that $38 back? Was he gonna give that $38 back?
Whoa, I went a little overboard yesterday.
Sounds to me like a fairly light hangover for Phoenix to be awake at 5 in the morning.
Goodbye!
What time is it?
Ah! The first trains for the mountains have already left! To the station!
What, you couldn't just call her on your cell phone?
You know, not to ring my own bell, but I sort of taught him everything he knows.
And what is that exactly? He says he doesn't mean to ring his own bell, but I sense a lie.